At 24 years old, American J.R. Hildebrand is part of the next generation of the IZOD IndyCar series. In just 1 year, he's gone from unknown rookie to fan favorite. He returns to Indianapolis with some unfinished business in his second season with Panther Racing and the National Guard.
We've got to be out there kicking ass and taking names because that's what these guys are doing every day.
In the next 36 hours, JR and his team go through their final practice and qualify for the 96th Indianapolis 500.
J.R. Hildebrand is moving on the course.
It's J.R. Hildebrand on IndyCar 36.
One to go! A rookie in Indianapolis.
J.R. Hildebrand trying to do the unthinkable, win his first Indianapolis 500.
Half a lap. He's got half a lap to go, and he's the Indy 500 champion.
All around the world, our servicemen and women on this Memorial Day are pulling for J.R. Hildebrand in that National Guard entry.
He's got to get around the lap. Traffic. 100 years.
No!
He hit the wall.
He hits the wall coming out of 4. Will he have enough to cross the yard of bricks?
Who will win? Who is the winner?
Dan Weldon is going to win the race. That is unbelievable.
Dan Weldon is a two-time champion just like that.
Just 2 feet in the wrong place. And it's been happening all day long. He almost won it with 3 wheels.
Can you imagine the feeling that young rookie has?
J.R. Hildebrand is aching inside.
Whether it was the right thing to do or not was sort of true to what, to me, racing and going fast is all about. There is no way that I'm going to lose this race by jamming on the brakes and slowing down through this corner. That's just not my gig here, you know. And that Indianapolis is a race that you're there to win, and that's it. I can sort of rest my laurels on at least that I was going for it, rather than, you know, that I was the guy that pussyfooted it through turn 4 and ended up coming in second that one. I knew I had to stand up and be a man about it. Like, that was the only option as far as I was concerned. We got a lot of praise just in terms of how we managed the whole situation, and all of us did. You know, my boss, John Barnes, was no different than how I was with it. And I think that the support that I had from JB and from Dave and my parents and everybody else there just immediately afterwards was a big piece of how I was able to be, you know, confident to stand up there and deal with it on my own. I can't change what happened. You know, all I can do is, you know, adjust my attitude about it. For me, it's not about coming back and getting, you know, redemption or something from last year. You know, this year is about coming back and trying our damnedest to just get back up there and have another shot at it.
It's 9:30 in the morning on May 19th, 355 days after last year's Indianapolis 500. J.R. Hildebrand and his girlfriend Kristen are on their way to the Speedway. It's Fast Friday, the final day of practice before tomorrow's qualification. Today, they make the 20-minute drive in JR's 1966 Chevrolet Chevelle, a gift from team owner John Barnes for the way he handled himself after last year's race.
This is cool because it's old, but it's like all as it was in 1966. So it doesn't have power windows, doesn't have power brakes, doesn't have power steering. It doesn't really have power anything.
I love watching everybody I think that's my favorite part of riding in this car. Is watching everybody look at it, like give you the big thumbs up, or the like, yeah. No, he drives his regular car very fast.
I do not drive.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Coming into stops, corners like that, you carry way more speed than most people do. So yes, you do drive your regular car like a race car, I think.
I haven't gotten a speeding ticket in a long time.
That's
so
right, yeah, that's true.
standing by that.
Yeah.
This whole month, you have to really fight the anxiety. There's a lot of stuff that's going on, and I think if you can just manage to kind of keep it calm and, keep a cool head on your shoulders, not get too stressed out about everything, that's as big of a feat as anything that goes on in the racetrack. I don't think it... Thanks, man! I think every year I forget how bad traffic is coming here on like past Friday and qualifying. And I think first time I rolled through here, I mean, it really hits you. This is one of the coolest tunnels in the world. I mean, you. How are you?
Good.
Good.
Okay, good. Have a great day.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Be a good one today.
We hope so. It's looking good so far. I think that's what makes it cool, just to drive through the gates and drive on in every day, is you know you're at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and that any day out here isn't a bad day.
So hopefully at most 3 runs today.
Yeah.
And if we can find, you know, hopefully gaps, zero traffic would be ideal.
I think that'll be almost a bigger issue than that the car feels good or bad or whatever is, you know, I mean, just, I think doing the 2 runs and feeling like they're legitimate runs, because I think that you're going to be hard-pressed to be the only car on the racetrack.
So if we can at least get the 1 run, I'd fully expect us to go back to the pad, alter the gears, download,
yeah,
and then we would then come back out and then go for a full qualifying run, just like day 4 start.
Yeah, works for me.
Okay, should be good. What could possibly go wrong?
You tell me, brother.
IndyCar has added some excitement to Fast Friday by adding 50 more horsepower to each team's engines. Turning up the boost will increase speeds by nearly 5 miles an hour.
The next 36 hours for us right now are pretty critical, because we've got a bunch of stuff that we haven't dealt with at all. We've had this whole week of practice so far, and it's kind of like we're starting over today, because we've got a lot more horsepower, and so that could feasibly change everything. It might not change anything, but it could change everything.
To get a clear track, Panther Racing Team is ready when practice begins, just after noon.
The 4-car of J.R. Hildebrand. Out for practice time.
Track's all yours. Copy. Gotta remember to lay it out there. You're going a little quicker. Yep, that's
Last time by almost 224 miles an hour. Hildebrand, 223.905. He's flying. 3 consecutive laps over 223 miles an hour for Hildebrand, all by himself on track.
Put this up, Joe. Put this up. Nice run, Joe. Nice run. Basically, I still got to lay it out a little bit in the entry into a couple of places, but it's just we got to start with less unders here. So what we'll do, Joe, is pump out. We'll go back to the garage.
We learned kind of what we needed to this morning, and we were fortunate to get out there when there weren't any other cars around. So we probably got another mile an hour or so in the thing if we can really get it right.
Conditions are pretty solid right now too. Like it'd be nice to get back out here before it gets too hot, you know.
We'll turn it around quick. Yes, we will.
Yeah. JR runs just 8 laps and posts his fastest speeds of the week when running on track all alone. Things are right on schedule for last year's Rookie of the Year, as over 5 hours of practice time remain on Fast Friday at Indianapolis. IndyCar 36 is brought to you by Firestone, the first name in Indy racing. It's just after 2 o'clock. There's now less than 24 hours until qualifications begin for the Indianapolis 500. Panther Racing's crew takes the number 4 machine back out for more practice. And California native J.R. Hildebrand is not far behind.
What's up, fellas? We're gonna try.
99% of the people that we bump into just want to see us go out and kick some ass, and that I think is the most important thing for us, and it's the coolest thing about it.
Oh. All right, there it is. There you go. It makes us all feel good about kind of what we were able to accomplish last year, and it definitely adds a little bit to the hectic nature of being here, but you know, when it comes down to it, we're going to be out on track for 2 or 3 runs today, maybe. You know, we've got a lot of downtime.
The team is ready for another 4-lap qualifying simulation run. If all goes well here, these will be their final practice laps of the day.
Put it out there, work along.
J.R. Hildebrand jumping into the fast 5. Turning laps at 225 miles an hour.
JR runs just 7 laps. His speed jumps up by nearly 2 miles an hour to over 225.5 miles per hour. Good enough for 8th quick on the day. They are ready for qualifying.
We would have liked to have seen, you know, maybe 3 or 4 more tenths of a mile an hour out there, but we feel pretty good about where we ended the day. The car is 95% of the way there. We just got a couple of little things that I think I'd like to have for when we actually go out and got to put the time in tomorrow, that I think will just bring that speed up a little bit. The balance of the car is, like, it's okay. You know, I mean, with a little bit of wind, like, you can feel the wind for sure. The guys just do an awesome job. Like, my engineer, Dave Cripps, is as cool and calm and collected as it gets, you know, which I think that really keeps everybody mellowed out and can keep us focused.
I think the only person that's genuinely done anything better than that was most probably Hunter Ray. Hillier was a good run. Ryan was a good run. I think that puts us right in with those guys right now. Good job, buddy.
Our second run was most probably more a sort of direct representative of where we wanted to be for qualifying on Saturday. It performed to our expectations. We're quite happy with the time that we did, with the weather, you know, and now we'll basically wait and see what type of weather we have for tomorrow.
With their on-track work done, JR and his boss John Barnes make a surprise trip to Turn 3 to meet the race fans.
So you quickly became the fan favorite of our area.
Oh,
yeah. Boy, were we cheering.
We better be cheering again this year, my man.
You better believe it.
Guess what, Coach? Come right here and I'll get you get in line to get his autograph. For 15 years of my life, early on, that's where I was at every day on practice or qualifying. Was here with my parents and stuff. And those people out there, that's what brings this place to life.
Thank you for coming out and seeing it.
Anytime, man. I just want to keep an eye on your sunburn. That's the only reason I came out.
That was cool, man. You know, we get to see some, like, real full-blooded race fans out there, you know, like sunburn and everything, you know. But that's cool. I mean, that's what it's all about.
Oh, we know where to come get the beer. There you go.
If there's not fans out here to watch, it's just a bunch of cars going around a racetrack, you know. And so that's definitely cool for us to be able to have that experience.
Later on, fellas. You better be cheering live next Sunday, all right? All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, the next Indy 500. All right.
As the crew continues to prepare the car for qualifying, the driver and owner find out their qualifying position for tomorrow.
From Panther Racing, ladies and gentlemen, John Barnes and J.R. Hildebrand. J.R., how do you feel?
I feel pretty good, man. It was nice to have a little extra power today. Get to see the speeds come up, and you know, we're ready to rock and roll tomorrow.
53, J.R. Oh, well, thank you.
Their qualifying draw puts them near the back of the line, and they will have to run in the heat of the day. As the sun sets in Indy, qualifying begins in less than 15 hours. It's 7:30 Saturday morning, pole day at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Today is about one thing: speed. 4 laps, 10 miles, flat out. The fastest starts up front in the world's most famous motor race. An early morning practice session is the final chance to fine-tune the car prior to qualifying. But there are concerns the conditions will differ by then.
It's still only, 62 degrees. So 22 degrees.
Yeah.
Less than what we expect.
It's going to be a different ball of wax.
Right, exactly. So we still have to basically stay focused on what we ran yesterday, that time, that heat of the day, that balance, that car. Just basically a big systems check. Look at the data, then make the changes we anticipate for qualifying and go take our first run. I don't know if you saw the actual order.
We were like 28th, aren't we?
Yeah, it's back there. Possibly 2 o'clock, which was when we did our time yesterday. So
yeah,
definitely got to get a good one in on the first run.
Okay. Going out and practice here early this morning, we don't really expect to learn a lot from the conditions just because it's a little bit cooler now than it's certainly cooler now than it's going to be later today. I think we're expecting sort of a 15 to 20 degree increase in sort of ambient air temp by the time that we'll go out because we're sort of late in the draw.
It's warming up ever so slightly.
Yep. What's the humidity supposed to be later?
It's going to be a little higher than yesterday.
Ever a concern as well is the competition.
You know, one thing that a lot of these guys are doing is maybe they're going to go at 9 o'clock. The Hinch boys and all those.
They drew super late like us, kind of.
Yeah, if they just bought Hinch's car past. I'm thinking that's a pretty, maybe not a bad idea, JL. We know who the players are, so it'd be nice to go at the same time as the players, you know. Because these guys are going to start to get the outside coming in the car. Boost map 2.
J.R. Hildebrand now finding some more speed.
How was that now? That was fine.
It's only 4 laps, but it's a pretty important 4 laps, you know. And so for a lot of us, you treat it like you would coming out here for racing. You got to be as ready for it as you possibly can.
And so, with just an hour and a half until qualifications begin, the speed appears to be there. The question is, will it be there in the heat of the afternoon? IndyCar 36 has been brought to you by Firestone, the first name in Indy racing.
How long have you guys been serving for?
6 years here.
The thing that really separates the National Guard sponsorship from everything else is that we're not really out there representing a product, we're out there representing a group of people. It makes a sponsorship so much more real.
The difference between 190 and 225 is like out of control.
Yeah. We have hundreds of soldiers and their families coming through the racetrack, through hospitality, and at the event every weekend.
3 days after we hired him, we took him to Walter Reed and took him to what's called Ward 57, which is where all the amputees are doing PT. And he met a lot of those guys, and I think it changed his life. He knows now what he races for. He races for those guys.
We've got to be out there kicking ass and taking names because that's what these guys are doing every day.
Qualifications have begun. 24 starting spots will be locked in today, with the top 9 battling for pole position in this afternoon's Fast 9 shootout.
Qualifying in Indy, I mean, I only having, one time under my belt, it was ultra stressful. I mean, just because there's so much of an element of the unknown when you get out there.
JR's late draw won't see him on track for another couple of hours. Teams prefer to get a qualifying run in early, leaving plenty of time to make adjustments and attempt up to 2 additional runs if needed.
A slight change in conditions can make a huge difference. I mean, a little bit of shift in the wind when you've got the thing totally trimmed out, can mean the difference between being that far away from the wall and that far away from the wall, or that far away from the wall.
Green flag.
Lap number 1. Lap number 1. Now to get into the top 9, he's got to be over 223.9, and he's doing it. He's at 223.975. This morning at 225.4. Halfway home, just like that. And he just fell out of the top 9. 223.2.
The rear looked like it was floating, starting to get up a little bit outside of the groove.
White flag waving for J.R. Hildebrand.
A little bit faster on lap number 3, 223.383, but not good enough for the top 9.
Checkered flag for J.R. Hildebrand. 223.078 on lap number 4.
Yeah, looks like we were a little neutral edge out. How was the balance for you? Hey, that was sketchy, man. Tempo.
They would love to have this car in the Fast 9 shootout, and right now they would have to do some work in order to make that happen.
We lost a little bit of speed and lost a little bit of balance, so we'll kind of see what changes we can make and how the conditions fare for the rest of the day. Why we ended up with the car being as different as it was is a little bit of a question mark for us, so we'll have to go figure that out.
It looked like it was neutral to oversteer, so he was lacking some rear grip. What we really need to do is just get back to the garage, try and evaluate what actually happened to the car, and then we'll make a decision from there as whether or not we get back out here and see if we can get a little further up the grid.
A full 2 miles per hour have disappeared. With 2.5 hours remaining in qualifying, the team goes to work looking for speed. A problem with the fitment of the rear bodywork is discovered. Aero efficiency is critical, and particularly at over 200 miles per hour, where minute inconsistencies can cause colossal problems. The issue is addressed, and with just over an hour remaining, JR returns to the track for practice laps. Hopes are high that the speed has returned. A one-lap systems check yields 223.048 miles per hour. A good sign. Practice laps at flat-out pace are next. The test to determine if the car has the speed to make a second qualifying attempt. With just 30 minutes remaining, the team calculates there to be just enough time. Barring unforeseen circumstances.
Oh, he hit the wall hard! Hit the wall hard in turn 2, Carpenter. Oh, my.
We don't really have the time at this stage to go back out and figure out exactly what's wrong. And so without being able to practice some and get a couple of runs in there to actually see the time and show back up, I think all we'd be doing by doing another run and be shooting ourselves in the foot. I certainly thought that we had front row speed. That's just frustrating to kind of watch slip out of your hands. I thought we had that too, man. I was thinking, go out there and show those God. I think if you could find us a couple beers, we'd be feeling a little bit better right now.
So JR and his team will start the race from the 18th position, but in 500 miles, anything can happen.